Hold on, I was recording you guys on here, and you came in, and I was saying it's game time, so I gotta look how cool that is. Watch, and you guys come right on there. Boom! There you
Oh,
go.
look at that.
Yeah, so all 200,000 of my followers will see you. But happy Tuesday! The NBA Finals are on, and we are having an amazing dialogue and conversation. That's obviously much more important than that, but I have to acknowledge that because Lakers are in that thing, and I think we might be taking it. So, hi, Josh.
Yeah, whole bunch of friendly faces here. And for those who don't know, this is Dr. Cheyenne Bryant of the NAACP, the Dr. Bryant Foundation. She's a psychologist, life coach. She does it all. Like I said, a friendly face. Most importantly, she's been helpful with BSU and everything we've been trying to do in terms of leading Black students, just Black progression in general. So everybody welcome her here. She's going to talk for a bit. We're going to open it up for questions, of course. So we're just going to have a fun dialogue and keep it interesting. And Dr. Bryant, if you will, could you please just let us know your background, upbringing, things about you that kind of propelled you into your career field?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Jarrell said, I'm Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I have a doctorate of psychology. I'm a psychology expert and life coach, president of NAACP, and I'm also president of the Dr. Bryant Institute. I am also an alternate elected official for a delegate for the Los Angeles County Democratic Party, and we are in election year, so we have been so busy rocking and rolling. I sit on the ballots committee for the Los Angeles County Democratic Party, and I 10 times out of 10 will be running for your congresswoman for the 44th district come 22. So we will be in that office rocking and rolling and continuing to make change. And hopefully I can have all of you all on my campaign team doing some phone baking, some text baking, some door-to-door, and, you know, helping us get in office. Because if I get in office, you know, we all get in office because I'm definitely going to be, you know, for the people, and I want to get voted in by my people. That's my plan and my strategy. And I can't see why it wouldn't come true with my belief and my manifestation. But a little bit about my background as far as my upbringing, where I came from. And it's really important for me to share that with you because I was just a little girl from the inner city, you know, street terminology, the hood, who was extremely determined and tenacious to just make it. And as a young girl, I didn't know what make it meant. I just knew that made it meant out of the environment that I was currently in as a young girl and as a teenage girl. I grew up going to school in LA Unified School District, and I was the young girl who always had really good grades, but I took no crap, and I was really big on defending myself. So I say all that to say that I got kicked out of all of LA Unified School District. I had to get an interdistrict permit to go to Long Beach Unified School District, where I proudly graduated from Long Beach Poly. Now, let me talk a little bit about manifestation, because prior to me getting kicked out of the whole district, I kept telling my grandmother and my parents, like, I want to go to Long Beach Poly. I want to go to Long Beach Poly. And she says, Cheyenne, we live in San Pedro. Every day I'm gonna have to get up and drive you across the city just to go to Long Beach Poly. You can't go to Long Beach Poly. And I didn't realize it back then, but looking back, I was a master manifester back then, because I kept saying I want to go, and I was really gung-ho, and I really want to go to this school. And the universe came in and created a circumstance for me to be able to get kicked out of the whole district to go to the school that I have been saying I want to go to. Now, that story is bigger than just me manifesting it. I want you all to see how I took a situation that can be perceived as bad or perceived as a hurdle or you know, something that's negative as far as getting kicked out of a school. And I really was able to see it from a positive perspective of which it really was, and say, wait a minute, I was able to manifest without me even having to try to be in trouble, right? Or create a circumstance, allowing the universe to do its thing. And God, when I say universe, it's God for me as well, and put me exactly where I wanted to be and what I asked for. And so I say that because you all are college students, and life is going to do what life does. That's just it. You can't control what life does. What you can control is your perception onto or at what life brings to you. And so I always say to all my clients, we have one job, and that one job is to be as happy as we can be. And if you are as happy as you can be through everything, anything life throws at you, you will be this sturdy oak like this. And life will do this nonstop. You see how life does this? And you will just be there as a sturdy oak, unmoved and unpushed, and in a place of positivity and joy, manifesting the life of your dreams. And that's just real. I came from a father who was a street guy, and I'm a product of a street guy. And I say that with all of the definition it comes from. My mom and my father were teenage, parents. They had me at 16 and 17. And so they had a lot of help with folks raising me. So I was a product of teenage pregnancy. I was a product of a street daddy. I took that and I used it as something that was going to push me into my purpose, that was going to motivate me to be everything I said I would be, and that was going to make it to where the folks around me who didn't believe in me, who seen me as a young, troubled teenager, would have to now, which they do, call me for mentorship, for questions, call me to tell me congratulations. And when they meet me, or when they see me out in public again, they say, "Hey, Cheyenne." I say, "Hey, nice to meet you again, Dr. Bryant." And that feels so good, not because of my ego, but because I know my journey. I know where I came from, and I know the folks who looked at me or looked down upon me to say, "She's just going to be another Black girl who's pregnant, a pregnant teenage mama. She is going to be another this, and that." I'm not knocking anyone on here who may possibly have kids already, because you too can rock and roll and make it, because I would have made it even if I would have had a child. I would have killed it either way, because that's just in my DNA and who I am. But I'm just telling you that when life comes at you, I need you to put on your positive Patty or your positive Patrick lens, and you need to see it for what you want it to be. It's not what it looks like, it's what you will have it to be. And if you can take that perspective with you long term, you will make it anywhere in life. And it won't be easy, but it'd be a lot easier than being negative Nathan and seeing things for how the world will have you see it, and not seeing it for what you want it to be. The whole Bible, right? It says what? To be in the world, but not of the world. Being in the world, not of the world, is that sturdy oak I talked about. This is of the world. And when you get caught up in this, you are now of the world. And your job is to be in it and create your circumstance by the power of your mind, and have your three-part house in alignment. Your three-part house is how you think, how you feel, and how you behave. That should be in alignment. And when that's in alignment, you are in prime manifestation mode. You are wide open. When I say wide open, I mean like this, not like this. So do not allow life to chip away at you when things don't go the way that you intend them to go, or they don't go the way you envision your ideology, because God is here to break your limited ideas, your limited thoughts, and your limited ideologies. And when he does that, understand that your God is so big that anything you can think of, he says, I know my plans I have for you. I have plans to prosper you. And I have plans to hold you in good health, all those things. So understand the promise will always be delivered, and don't get weary in well doing. Okay, so that's kind of what I want to say as far as like my background. I went to Cal State Northridge. I got 2 double degrees, psychology, Pan-African studies. I was going to go to law school, and then I thought, well, I don't want to do law because I want to be a mama bear at some point and a wife, and I want to be able to have some time for my kids and family. Didn't know that I'd be ending up getting into politics anyways, right? Where I'm not going to have any time for anything anyways, but community work and service of people, which is what I love to do. I got my master's from University of Phoenix in marriage, family, and child therapy. Then I went on to Argus University and I got my doctorate. I started college at 17, and then I dropped out of college because I bought my first home at 19. I opened up a daycare in my home. I opened up a retail store on Melrose. You guys familiar with Melrose out in Los Angeles? Melrose, the big retail excursion tourist spot that people love. I opened up 3 retail stores on Melrose, and I was putting in probably like 60, 70 hours a week. I would do VIP appointments where I shut the whole store down and let people come in and rent it out for a couple hours, provide food, and do this whole shop for them and dress them. And then I realized, well, I want to be able to have all this time, right, for this family that I just knew I was going to have so soon. That's why I say, you guys, we plan and God laughs. And so I shut down the store, went back to school, took 26 units a semester. And I remember the dean telling me, you have to get permission to take these 26 units. And I said, okay, fine. He said, you have to put in a form for requests. I put in a request, and the dean said, there's no way you're going to take 26 units. You can, you got to prove to us that you can do at least 12 units, and you can pretty much, breeze through that with all A's or B's. And so I came back with all A's, and he said, I'll grant you 19 units. I said, I want my 26. He gave me my 26 units. The next semester I had 22. The last semester I had 19. I said, I'm out of here with 2 degrees. A good day. When I went to my master's program, I said, I'm here. I want to double up on everything because I don't have time to waste. And they told me, we don't do double up here. I said, well, then I will not be enrolling into your program. Thank you, Chicago School of Psychology. I'll go elsewhere. I went to Argosy. They said, hey, if you can show you can double up and keep your GPA at a 3.8 or higher, we'll let you do it. And so I breezed through that, and I was able to keep my GPA up. I got done with a 3.5 program, including internship, in 2 years, and went on to my doctorate. Same thing with doctorate. I said, I want to double up. They said, it's a doctorate program. There's no way. And you can't do it. They said, if you can keep your GPA 3.8 or higher, we'll let you. They called me, I think, a year and a half into my academics and said, hey, Cheyenne, because I wasn't Dr. Bryant yet, Cheyenne, you have a 4.1. We want to give you an financial academic scholarship because you have killed the game pretty much in my terms. And I got a scholarship without asking for it because I not only doubled up, but I got a 4.1 in that school. And I say that to say, again, this is the young girl who got kicked out of the whole district, right? A young girl who also experienced teenage pregnancy. And when I experienced teenage pregnancy, I had a family who, especially a father who was very much in my life. And he called me, and I still remember to this day, he said, you may hate me today, but you will thank me tomorrow. We will be, we're going in the morning for you to, and all respect to those who are pro-life. I was a teenager at this time, okay? You are going and we're going to have an abortion. You're not going to have this child. You may hate me now, you'll thank me later. And I remember us going, and my mother and grandmother were like, you can't have an abortion. No way. We'll help you raise it. We'll do anything. And my dad's like, heck no. Let's rock. So we get there. My parents and family were the last people I saw walking in, the first support that I seen walking out. I think I was in my mid-20s. I remember calling my father and saying, thank you. And he said, for what? I said, for being so strong in that decision, because as a young woman who is able to have the freedom of being successful, thank you. You made the right decision for me, and thank you for being such a proactive, involved father. So again, a girl who experienced teenage pregnancy, a product of a street papa, a product of teenage parents, all those things, and there's so much more that I can add to it, and we don't have time for. But I want to tell you guys that I prevailed, and I didn't have support. I'm the first generation to go to college. I'm the first generation to graduate from college. I'm the first doctor of my family on both sides. And thus far, I am the only doctor in my family on both sides. And so I'm telling you not to brag. I'm telling you because I'm proud, and because my testimony is already and going to be a lot of your testimonies, because I know you all are going to rock and roll. I know you all have big plans. And the only way that you get the big plans to manifest is if you don't give up. I use this analogy that if you're at the bank to see the teller and you stay in line and never leave the line, guess what? At some point, you will be next. And that's how you have to be in life with what you want, with your career. If it could be something as simple as a relationship, as simple as a vacation you want to take. I don't care if it's you want to save $200 in a month. Okay, if you every penny a day, you'll get to that 200. And do not compare yourself to someone else. We are all on our own journey. And the number one way that you can negate your self-love is to compare yourself to somebody else. Because listen, God created you exactly how you are supposed to be for the audience and people who need you with the things you've been through, with the perspective that you have, with the shape and the size of the eyes or the body or whatever you got going on. The only way that you can be in your purpose is to be in your purpose. And you don't look for your purpose and then you find yourself, guys. Listen, when you find yourself, there goes your purpose. I'm gonna say it again. When you find yourself, and that comes from an act of self-love, because self-love, love being an action word, self-love is an action. It's not just an affirmation. So self-love is something you have to act upon. What are you doing every day to love on yourself? What are you doing every day to to make yourself feel valued and deserving and worthy of all that you are deserving. It's a human right to have everything you want. It's a human right to have a list of desires and to know, like you know, that you can have them. That's not arrogant. That's self-love. And remember, we produce who we are. And so whatever you got going on in you is what you're producing. You want to know what you're producing? Look at your world. Look at your friends. Look at your family. Look at your environment. Look at what you're attracting. You're a magnet for who you are. So again, you produce who you are. The person you got to checkmate is you. No one else. The person you got to love on is you. Because if you love on you enough, then guess what? As your cup overflows with whatever you're producing within you, if I'm underneath your cup, I get some of that as well, good or bad. So remember that the number one investment and the number one person to work on is always going to be you. That's not selfish. That's called selfless, and that's self-love. Because if you don't have it together with you, you cannot give me anything that will empower or bring me to a place of love or value. That's what it boiled down to. Because again, we give who we are. And it's very important to fill us up with that, at which two things we want to give and we want to attract, because the universe is just mirroring who we are. And as we become whoever it is we want to be, the universe mirrors back to us. And so when we feel like things are not going our way, the truth is, get out of your own way and figure out what's going on within yourself that you can fix. Now, I didn't say beat yourself up. I didn't say throw yourself away, because beating yourself up or throwing yourself away, that's an act of self-hatred. We got enough of that in our Black community. Okay, so you don't beat yourself up on your way to your journey or during your journey and through the process. You be gentle with yourself. You have compassion with yourself. You know why? Because if you want folks to be compassionate for you, what do you have to have within yourself? If you want folks to love you through the process and love you unconditionally, what do you have to have for yourself? Unconditional love. Folks give you what you already have. And whatever someone has done to you, you have already done to yourself. Maybe a hard pill to swallow, but it's the truth. If you negotiate with yourself every day over your dreams and your values and over what you deserve, don't get upset when people negotiate with you over what they want to do or how they want to treat you. Whether it's a relationship person, whether it's a friend, whether it's a job, whether it's a boss, I don't care who it is. If they're doing it to you, you don't like it, go home and do a self-inventory of what you do to yourself. I will put all my money on it that you've done it to yourself or you do it to yourself. And that's why you are an open vessel for folks to do onto you what you do to yourself. Hold yourself in dignity. Hold yourself in value. Hold yourself with self-worth. And if somebody is feeling small because of your bigness, that ain't your problem. If it's coming from a place of ill intent, of course it's your problem. Then you're producing that. If it's coming from a place of just wearing your coat and wearing who you are, what you were created to be, you are a thumbprint of your creator. So you are as big as your God is. How can you walk in a room so small? How can you walk in a room and belittle who you were created to be? We have that in our culture bad. We do it onto each other. Folks acting too big. Well, nobody can act too big if they are in their bigness. And my thing is, there's light for everybody. And if we all let each other shine, if I stand underneath you and I'm feeling a little dimmed, I should be able to get empowered by your light, not intimidated. There's a difference. Not intimidated, empowered by your light. It's all just a perception shift of how you see things. More importantly, how you view yourself. How you view yourself. So remember to wear your coat, stand in your dignity, be as big as you are. And again, if folks can't take it, you are only responsible for what you are putting out. You're not responsible for what they are receiving in. And you're not responsible for their stuff. You don't have to rub it in, but have self-awareness to where you understand when it's their stuff and you continue to do what you do with good intent and with humility, because humility doesn't look head down. It doesn't look shameful. It doesn't look shoulders over. Humility is actually power. It looks shoulders back, head up, sturdy oak. That's what it looks like. So be that, especially in this racial culture that we got going on, or climate, I should say, became a culture, climate we got going on, especially with, with this whole COVID-19, the Black community being, unproportionately affected by it. This is a time where we have to make sure that we stand in our power, that we know our power, and that we use our power to empower each other to the fullness of our capacity, and that we seek to understand each other and not to be understood. Again, seek to understand each other and not to be understood. And be in that space of understanding and compassion first for yourself, because we're all on this journey. And look, I'm 38, I'm 2 years from 40, and I got all these titles and this stuff going on, but I'm still figuring out so much. And when I turn 45 and become a mama bear, which I can't wait to become, I'm going to still be figuring out that. And when I get into office, I'm still going to be figuring out that. And there's probably going to be so many things that you all, hopefully on my campaign team, or, you know, working with me when I'm in office, are helping me figure things out. Taylor is my intern, and there's so many things that, let me go back to this. There's so many things that Taylor sends over to me that I'm like, oh my God, this is so genius. There's so many ideas that she has that are better than the ideas I had prior to her working with me. It happens all the time. She'll post, and I wasn't aware of the post or what she was doing on her creative end. And I'll just text her around like, Taylor, this is it. You're killing it. Or, yes, that's the post. That's amazing. Because I understand how powerful she is. I understand how much I need her and how interrelated we are. I understand that I can have the titles and I may be the boss and I may be the one who's running the company, but Taylor's just as significant as I am when it comes to building this company, sustaining this company, maintaining what we have. If I choose you, I trust you, and I've chosen her. So I trust her to be in her power and I expect her to be as big as she is. I expect her, if I felt she was even limping small, I would call her out on it with love. And I give her that space to be big, we got to give each other that space to be as big as we are. I'm talking about in our community, in our Black community. We have to give each other that space to be as big as we really are. And when you see someone's bigness, call it out. I see you, champ. I see you, big dog. I don't know how you guys talk. I see you, call it out. Let that person be big. Let them, and if their bigness is a bigness that you acquire, have a conversation with them. They may teach you a thing or two. I have some folks that are so big in my circle that just sitting at the table with them is rewarding for me. Just having a conversation with them is giving me tips and tools, and have taken me and ascended me to levels that were on my vision board at times, that were just in my meditational space of me seeing me be there. And so much has shifted and changed within myself. So with you all, I want to offer that you allow life to shift and change you in the ways that it's going to do it, without you taking it personal. Don't personalize the things that life is going to do to you. And please don't feel alone in it, because what it's doing to you, it's done to me, it's doing to me, and it will continue. The only difference is my perception toward it, and me being, like I said, in the world where I can be that sturdy oak and understand this too shall pass. And remembering that if I pray for something, because preparation meets opportunity, not the other way around. So when I pray for something, God starts to prepare me. And if I'm too much is given, much is required. And if you're not willing to require that at which you're asking to be given, then don't pray for that and don't speak for that. Because praying is not just like this. Every thought and every word is a prayer. Remember that there's life and death in the tongue. And so you speak, you trying to change it and I keep changing it back?
Nah, you're good.
Okay. You remember that you speak things into existence. This is why I said when something looks ugly, you call it as what you will have it to be. It says in the Bible as well. It says you call that at which is not as though it already is. God don't have me preaching here on a Tuesday night, on a Taco Tuesday. You call that at which it's not what it already is. That means that when you believe it, you see it. Not when you see it, you believe it. That means you have to exercise your faith muscle. And how do you exercise your faith muscle? The same way you do your physical muscle. When you go to the gym, you got to work it out. You got to call God's bluff and say, I'm asking for this. And I'm going to have faith. And if you don't have the faith, so what? Say, God, guess what? I'm asking for faith. Show up in ways that will strengthen my faith. Have that real relationship with God. Let God meet you where you are, because he already knows who you are. So you could take the mask off. You could be raw, butt naked and vulnerable, at least with God, which happens to be a reflection of you because you're a thumbprint of exactly your creator. So get in that space, have that conversation, use your words. This is not just prayer. Remember, everything, I always say, what God moves through you, God gives to you. good or bad. What God moves through you, he gives to you, good or bad. You don't want it for yourself, then don't say it to Zeno. You don't want it for yourself, don't say it to Naomi. You don't want it for yourself, don't say it to Rob or Nicole. Don't say it to them if you don't want it for yourself. Speak that at which you want to keep. Because in a couple years, when you see yourself having compassion for that at which you judged a couple years ago, because now you're in that same predicament, you created that circumstance. Because God has a way of telling us, well, I need you to have compassion for this person. And you happen to be the vessel that I'm going to use to show this person compassion and have understanding. So I got to put you through some things for you to understand that. So be open to those and those afflictions. And remember, again, what we're praying for, God prepares us for. And the preparation is not something that always feels good. And it's not something that is going to feel good. But when you're feeling it, get excited about it. Oh my God, God has heard my prayers. He's stretching me. I can feel it. Oh my God, God had to hear me when I asked for that $20,000 to buy this new car. When I asked for that money to get this new apartment. When I asked for to run for office like Joshua did and become the president of the school. You got to be prepared for that. Not everybody can just jump into leadership. Some people have a natural. Not everybody can just jump into leadership. And even those who have a natural, God has lessons in preparation for us too. For us too. So I just want you guys to have a miracle, just a shift in perception. I want you to have a miracle tonight, a shift in perception on your world and on your life, and to see it for what it really is, because the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And let me tell you something. He's energy. He's a spirit. He's not a physical, carnal human. He don't want your house. He don't want your car. He don't want your friends. He don't want your bed. He don't want your food, because he can't do nothing with it. Guess what he wants? Your mind. If he can get here, he can get you to destroy all of that. So again, you have to be very aware, very conscious of your thoughts, what you're thinking and what you're speaking, because your life depends on it. Your life depends on that and what you are creating. Let there be. We are the word. We are the word. When God said, let there be light, let there be, when he said, let there be you, let there be me. He breathed into us, did he not? So we are, listen, this is why y'all see, we should need to be in person. Y'all about to get me hypey up in here. You have to understand, because when I say you are, and I know, and I'm not saying this because it's Kalu, every time I talk, when I do corporate, they have to tell me sometimes, Doc, leave the Bible verse out, leave God. I'm like, it's in me. I am the word. I am the word. I bring the word. But you are the word. And when I say you are the word, do you know that the word is the power? You are the word. That means that you are the word in physical form. So when you speak it, you're creating it. Now, I just want to tell you guys this, because when we speak the word and say, God, I'm asking for my husband, I'm going to speak my own stuff out here. You guys just stick with me. Just stick with me. Everybody, when two or more agree, there he is. So everybody agree with me. Okay, everybody say aye. But God, I want my husband. Let me tell you guys this. Every question comes married with an answer. Every request comes married with a delivery. Remember that. Stick with me. What takes it so long for us to experience it in the physical form is, soon as we ask, it's attached. The delivery is attached to that at which we ask in spiritual, energetically form. Stick with me. It takes a little bit of time to transform into the physical form for us to experience it from a tangible perspective. So when we pray for something, boom, it's here in physical form. Our spirit can feel it, because that's what spirits do. It's called the subconscious, okay? But our carnal, limited space of being, our human side, is going, it ain't here. You're taking too long. I don't want it no more. Where is it? On to the next thing. And at some point, it always shows up. But I just want you guys to know the process, because I don't want you to get doubtful that the things you're working on, the things you're praying for, that God ain't delivering. Yes, he is. Because as soon as I say I want my husband, he's in physical form. I have to get out of my own way to be receptive to that of which I'm asking for. So he comes into spiritual form. I say it's like a computer. Spiritual form is in your computer download, sitting right here, right? And we telling God, press the download button. He said, you ain't ready. We're telling God, press the download button. He said, I'm still preparing you. Press the download button. He said, you ain't ready. Press the download button. He says, not yet. And as soon as we surrender to the process and stop asking for him to press the download button, guess what happens? Doop. It's downloaded. Because we have shift our focus and surrender to the process. We have exercised our faith, and we have let God know we understand your promise will always be delivered, and no request will go or will return void. You hear that? No, that's in the Bible, y'all. This is not in the mental detox book that I wrote. This is biblical. This is principle. Even if, I'm not saying y'all don't, but even if say somebody for whatever reason didn't even believe in the Bible, that's fine. Throw the Bible out, not literally, but just for the sake of this conversation. It's principles. No request will return void. The law of attraction says the same thing. They just say it in a spiritual vibrational way. That religion says it from a biblical principle way. They're principles that are the same thing. They're just said differently. They're all the same thing. No request will be turned void. So I'm telling you all, you are the word. Use your power. Call a thing that's not as though it is. And when you see something happen in your life, you're like, I don't like this. I don't like this. Don't focus on what you don't like. Ask yourself, okay, so if I can have it the way I want it, hey, Maya, welcome. How would it be? You ask yourself that question. If I can have it the way I want it, how would it be? And then you speak that over what you don't like. You speak that into it. And again, be very, very aware of your mind. Your thoughts are there to do one thing. Listen, everything has a role. Your heart is there to do what? It beats, right? Your heart doesn't walk. It's not a foot. That's not what it does. Your thoughts are there to do what? To think. They're not there to make you feel good or feel bad. They're there to just think. And it's a gift to you to serve you. So there's no way or any point in time you should be serving it. You should be an observer of the mind and thoughts. And you choose the thoughts you want to hang on to and associate with. Because the thoughts that you hang on to and associate with create your narrative. Your narrative creates your perspective. And your perspective is what? Your reality. It's your reality. So you tell yourself the narrative you want to create and you live it every day. No one creates your narrative. No one creates your narrative but you. And you live in it and you manifest it. And you live a happy life and you have one job. It's to be happy. One job. So if somebody's saying some negative things to you or they're in a space that doesn't seem respectful, you tell them, listen, I have one job. And that's to be happy. And you are not making that job easy. Conversation over. It's that simple. I have one job and it's to be happy. You are not in alignment with that job. Conversation. Call me when you can get in alignment with that. Conversation over. Enjoy your day. Because you can't allow nothing to come in and kill, steal, and destroy your happiness, your joy, and your peace of mind. And as you get older and you do the work, it becomes easier. And you almost never have those type of days. Now your life is going to take its do what it does, but you become so in it and not of it, you become repellent for it. You almost become a magnet for only those things that are good and cool and joyful. It doesn't mean that, everything's going to go your way, but it darn near becomes like that when you do the work and you become a person who's that of peace and liberation and unconditional love for yourself and open and vulnerability. And you, like the Bible says, you seek peace with everybody. And it also says, seek peace with everybody. And those who can't return it, back away. That's all it says. Seek peace with everybody, but those who can't return it, back away. That means cut them off, good day. You don't have to be mean like that, but that's what it means, Let them do what they need to do and you do what you need to do. So I don't know if you all have any questions
we're gonna go to questions. You hit the ground running. I ain't gonna lie, we got like priceless gems and all they have to do is click on the Zoom link. So it's a whole bunch that I could talk to you about, but I want to open the floor for everybody. We talk often, so if anybody has any questions, please feel free to raise your hand or just signal that you want to ask a question. Rob, I had a feeling you'd have a question, so go ahead, man.
Okay, so first of all, bow down to you. That was amazing, inspiring, so many levels. But also, when your transition from Long Beach Poly to Northridge to the University of Phoenix and so on and so forth, were you doing so on multiple scholarships, or was it out of your own pocket, or was family supporting you? That's my question.
That's a great question. Cal State Northridge, I went through the EOP program. It's the Equal Opportunity Program for us minority kiddos. And I got financial aid through my entire undergrad because my family was a working middle class family. I didn't come from, you know, I wasn't spoon fed, and we had a great upbringing, but we didn't have, you know, money like that. You know, we had health insurance because my grandfather worked for the Pacific Railroad. So that was awesome. But I went through the EOP program. They were very good to me. And my first year, I was on academic probation. So I struggled a little bit at the beginning because I was living on my own at 17. I had my own apartment, and I wasn't as focused as I would want to be. I was trying to open up a business and buy a house and do other things. But to answer your question, yes, I went through EOP, financial aid, did it. At my master's program, I went and applied for loans and paid for it on my own, and my doctorate. And what happens is now, because I have a nonprofit organization, which you all can do as well, even with my nonprofit, I extend my nonprofit for you guys to use, because I work more than 30 hours for my nonprofit, it's paying back my student loans. Now, if I do this for 10 years, it will just, at 10 years, it'll completely pay off all of my loans. So for the first 10 years, it's paying my monthly payments where I don't have to pay anything. Once we reach the 10-year mark, it pays off everything. Yeah.
That was a great question. Anyone else have a question right now they want to get out to Dr. Bryant about her upbringing, about what she does now, currently? You're interested in becoming one of her interns, anything?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Josh.
So I've never asked you before, but when do you plan on running for Congress?
So I will file August 21, and then my race will be 21 all the way to November 2022, which is the primary. I'm hoping that I can win and blow the person out in the primaries. If not, we go to the general election, which is March. But I may be running against an incumbent. She is Hispanic. She's in her second term, and the area I'm running for has 71% Hispanic. Now, what works for me is I am Black and Latina, so that works. I don't speak fluent Spanish, so that may be a challenge. But if I can show the brown community how I support them and what my plans are to do to help their community and their disparities, and how we're really in this thing together, then I think that would work well for me.
I have a question.
Thanks, Josh. Hi, Naomi.
Hi. First of all, thank you. That was a lot of really good information and reminders. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. I'm a freshman, but my plan right now is I'm studying psychology and entrepreneurship. And I just kind of wanted to ask a little bit about you being a life coach. It's actually something that I've gone to a life coach before, and I really liked it. So it was something I'm interested in possibly pursuing. So what clients, what's the age group and type of people you work with and stuff like that?
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's a good question as well. So I started off as a therapist, and then I transitioned over to a life coach. And so my practice is, I call it it's a hybrid where they get therapy and coaching. Therapy is, let's focus on CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, psychodynamic, narrative, whatever your approach is, right? But it's also what have you been through, your mommy issues, your daddy issues, learned behavior, what happened as a child, were you sexually abused? Let's process all that stuff. Let's see how that stuff is now affecting you today, and get you past those pain pockets, get you in contact with your triggers, all that stuff. It's all clinical, right? Life coaching says, okay, you've been through that. All right, well, guess what? From today forward, what are your goals? What do you want to do? We're going to move past that. We're going for it. So I always say therapy is us work on what happened. Life coaching is we going to work on the future. And if you do both, I think you have a perfect marriage, which is the hybrid that I provide my clients. You can provide that to your clients if you continue to do your psych undergrad, then your master's in either psychology or marriage, family, child therapy or social work, whatever you choose to do. And then you can go into coaching. But when you go into coaching, you're going to be more futuristic, focused on people who are coming to you who's saying, you know, I have these goals and I just keep having these daily impairments, and maybe I'm having these hiccups. I don't know how to get past it. You know, in the age range, my youngest baby, I call him my baby, you know, you guys are my babies too, but my clients are really my babies. My youngest kiddo is 14, and he's a superstar. He's amazing. And my oldest client is right at 65. And so my demographic age range is very, very broad, because I'm very good at problem solving, but I'm also very good with helping a person process. So with the younger age group, teenagers, adolescents, and or early 20s, you have to let y'all talk a lot, work through your emotions and process, because you don't want to be told really what to do. You really don't want us to solve your problem for you, because you kind of know everything and you're very sensitive still. Not saying y'all here, but you know, who knows, but you're very sensitive still. With the older folks, they're past all that sensitivity. They're like, look, I got a problem, solve it for me. I don't have time to waste. You know, I understand life a lot more now. I have wisdom and blah, blah, blah. So when you start off, this is what I always say, words don't teach, and I'm not negating my words, but words don't teach, experience does. This is what I want you guys to freaking focus on. Words do not teach, experience does. That's from personal or professional relationships. Get the experience, Naomi. Start with your clients, get into the internships, start seeing clients, and you're going to be a little nervous and afraid. So what? Screw up or don't screw up. Whatever you do, don't throw yourself away. Don't beat yourself up. Understand that that's normal. When I first started, as a therapist, I was dealing with DCFS, court-ordered cases, and that's a tough demographic to deal with. And I had a young girl who ended up being diagnosed with borderline, but she came in, and I remember I was so nervous, right? I was like, I don't know, like my first client. I'm like, oh my God, I want to be perfect. I want to help her. And I'm like, I think right at 26, 27, I'm young, you know, and I'm not 38 and seasoned. And so I'm trying to be perfect, and I'm talking all like this, and I'm being articulate, and I'm using all my clinical terms, and everything is sounding perfect. And one session, she just said to me, you know what? She said, you sound dumb. You sound like you're reading from a script. You're reading from a book. And I can't with this. And they put me, when I say they put me dead center in the hood on Slauson and Halldale, I was a block away from Slauson, swap me. So I was getting the people that I told God, don't give. See, I told y'all, watch what you tell. I said, God, do not give me these people, because I don't want to have to work with this demographic of people, because I know my temper and my temperament, especially back then, I didn't think I'd be able to control it as much if somebody said something like that to me. I want to stay professional. So she said that to me, and that was the best thing that I could have been told. I remember going home, and I had a conversation with my fiance at the time. I'm like, this is what she said to me. And I started thinking about it, and Spirit came in and said, yeah, she's right. You're not being authentic. You're not being yourself. You're not going to resonate with your clients being whoever the heck you think this therapist is supposed to be or talk like and be like. I put you in this field to be you. And I put you in this area of demographic of people because I know you can handle it. I know your attitude, I know where you've been, and I know your ways. So these people are a reflection of you. Teenage pregnancy, product of teenage parents, product of street father, product of inner city hood environment. These people are a reflection of you. Do the work. And from that day, I went back and I was just myself. And I've been myself in my practice since that day. And my practice has been filled from morning, from sunrise to sunset every day, Naomi. So my best advice to you is be you. And as you continue to have clients, your clients and you are going to shape your life coaching approach. It's going to shape your modality in your beliefs. And the second most best advice I can give you about being in this field is do your work, do your own work. It's not fair for me to show up as a coach telling folks what they should or shouldn't do, or giving them advice or helping them process, when I'm not processing my own stuff, I'm not healing my own pain, I'm not doing my own work, I'm not manifesting my own stuff, and I'm not living by the principles that I'm teaching. So be that at which you are preaching to the best of your capacity. Of course, we're not perfect. And be who you are. Be exactly who you are. There's therapists that have tattoos everywhere. Another thing I want to tell you, which is good that you're in this field, there's only 2% of the mental health professionals are Black, sweetie, 2%. And this is why the mental health field is lacking culture competence. This is why our Black kids and Black adults, 2 things, don't want to go to therapy. Don't nobody look like them. And 2, we're being overdiagnosed or underdiagnosed. And we don't have anyone who we can relate to. It's not easy for a Caucasian therapist to have culture competence when it comes to being Black. I'm sorry, it's not. There's just some things we do as a Black culture that folks just won't understand. There's certain words we use. There's certain ways that we discipline our kids and ourselves. There's certain things that we've all been through that we do have PTSD as just being Black, growing up in the inner city, growing up in the suburbs. I don't care if you were in the suburbs, you walk into a store somewhere, just being Black sometimes is just enough. So again, Naomi, understand that we need you in this field. And so if you're coming in this field, I'm rooting for you to get your butt over here with me, because we need you. I need more of you. And the way that the mental health culture is going and the momentum, our Black folks, especially our Black youth, our Black male youth and Black men, they need to get mental health treatment and mental health services. And we got to break that stigma. And the more of us that we have in this field, in this industry, I believe we can break that stigma. And we can start to create a DSM that is made for our people. The DSM is the diagnosis manual, the diagnosis statistical manual of personality and mental health disorders. It's not created for us. It was created by a white male. All of the tests, all of the population tests and the scientific background of that is based on the symptoms of a white male. You name one person on here, one Black man on here who is going to relate to the symptoms of a white male. So when they're diagnosing you, they're telling you you have symptoms based on a DSM that was never designed for you. So how are you diagnosing me? How are you diagnosing this Black man as anything? Bipolar, schizophrenia, you have no means to do that. So we need you in this field and us to do our own sample tests, to do our own statistical data on our Black and brown minority folks, especially Black folks, and even PTSD looks different on us. Anger looks different on us. Talking about police brutality. They don't, NAACP right now, I had a big meeting with the chief, Michael, oh my God, what's his name? Oh my God, I'm having a brain thing. Michael Moore, Michael Moore, and the whole LAPD. And I explained to them at the actual board meeting, I said, listen, you all don't understand what angry looks on a Black man. You don't know what frustration looks on a Black man. You don't know what I had a long ASS day at work looks on a Black man. So when you pull him over and he had an argument with his baby mama, because this is being real, or his girlfriend, or his single mama, or he's leaving work getting paid lower than what everybody else get paid because he's a Black man, or he had to get on this bus to get off to walk to do the train or whatever he had to do, and he's frustrated and disappointed in himself and already experienced abuse and who maybe even sexual, who knows what this man went through, and you pull him over or you having a conversation with him, you're taking the way he exhibits anger as a threat towards you. What have I told you? That's the same when he talks to his auntie, his mom, or his sister when he gets home from talking to you, and it's no pun intended. You don't know what things look like on us. So you, because of your lack of culture competence, you take what you want and project onto us what we're doing when we're not even doing that. And so because we're saying, why you pull me over, and you see all of this as hostility, that could be a way that we culturally speak to people when we're saying hello or when we're in a good space. You don't get it because you're not culturally competent. You're not culturally trained to get it. So because you don't have that training and because you're not culturally competent, you don't need to be policing our community or our neighborhood or our youth or our Black men. period. We do want police there because we need the protection. We're not saying we don't want you there. We want you trained. We want you culturally competent. So we ain't losing our black men every day. And now our black women as well on the streets because you don't know what you're doing because you come from the suburbs and you guys talk like this and we don't talk like that. And we don't have to change the way we speak for you to understand it. You're police in our community. You are in our homes, in our neighborhoods, and you got to respect us like we need to respect you, but you got to understand who you are policing. You cannot come in here and do things the way you want to do it like you've been doing it. That's not okay. So this is what I'm telling Chief Moore, and he's a white chief, and you know, my other presidents are in there and they're like, here she goes. Yeah, here I go. Because they have no idea of what is going on in our community, and it needs to stop, and it's going to stop. I'm going to a press conference on Thursday about the stuff that happened in Compton, the guy that just got shot 19 times in Compton. 19 times. The guy's running. I mean, this stuff is bananas. And so I say that to say again, you know, I don't know where Naomi went, but we do need you. Oh, there you go. Where'd you go? There you go. She's like, I'm right here. We need more of us in there because we got to be able to help not just the police change up their policing, right? And get culture competent, but help our Black community also get the treatment they need. There's 13.4% African Americans in the whole United States of America. 11.5% of those folks do not have access to health care. That means 11.5 don't have access to health care. That means they don't even know if they have a mental health issue or what kind of disease they got or what's going on. So they can't get treatment. And in past treatment, they're not even aware of what they have. So check this out. 13.4% of African Americans, of United States citizens are Black, right? 40% of that 13.4% are in prison. Stick with me. I just wrote a resolution for NAACP that is for mental health diversion. That means that anytime a person looks like any of us on here, Black, goes up to be sentenced or for trial or for any type of criminal punishment, the state, the city has to pay for them to have a mental health evaluation. That mental health evaluation needs to work for them, not against them in the court of law. If that Black man shows that he has any type of mental health issue, which he's going to show, she's going to show, PTSD, depression, adjustment disorder, anxiety disorder, you name it, he's going to have something, okay? Especially if he has a good attorney, I'm just playing, but he's going to have something. Then that has to work for him, meaning divert him. Those 3 years you were going to give him, those 5 years you were going to give him, divert him to mental health treatment for 5 years. If he breaks that, then you can say break the 5-year mental health diversion, then you do 2 years in jail, 5 years in jail, 7 years, whatever you want to give him, but allow that man to get treatment for what he has an issue for. There's been a healthcare disparity that's been going on since the beginning of time. You want to change a healthcare disparity? Run those mental health evaluations on these Black men. And the ones who are already in jail need to be granted that as well. And then they need to have their time reevaluated based on their mental health concerns or diagnosis, because there's certain diagnoses that will have you exhibiting behaviors that are crimes. And any attorney with a brain should be able to show that correlation. And so, Joshua, those are things that I'm going to implement when I get in office, because that is very important to me. And though that's a resolution that passed at the state level for me already, we now go next weekend on the 26th, national is going to vote for it. And if it passed on the national level, it'll go into legislation. And that's good stuff, because Naomi, if that happens to pass, when you get into rock and roll, and if you happen to get licensed as a therapist, guess what? Your caseload, honey, is going to be filled up with, you're going to come out the licensing place with a caseload of clients already, people you can help, and money in your pocket, because we're going to need people like you to help our people if this mental health diversion, which I'm sure it's going to pass, ends up being something that we need. You're going to be doing the evaluations. That's a lot of money. You're going to be doing the treatments. So I'm just showing you how you can do a win-win, help your people and also live a great quality of life, which is still helping your people. You can't help a poor person by being poor. Resources take money. Resources cost money. You can't help poor person by being poor. Money's not the root to all evil. The love for it is. Okay? The love for it is. And the Bible also has a verse where it says money, this is what it says, and I will send you guys this to URL in email, and you can blast it out, because I tripped off this too when I heard it years ago and I loved it. It says money will solve all things. The love for money is the root of all evil, but it says money will solve all things. So again, Naomi, my long answer, because it was really important to me. We need you. It's only 2%. You see our Black, out of the 13.4% of African Americans, 16% are reporting that they have a mental illness. So that means out of the 2.4% or 2.6% of the folks that do have healthcare access, 16% of them are saying they have a mental illness. You do the math. That's darn near all of them. So it's just very important that we get our stuff together. You know, the Black male life expectancy is 2 to 3 times shorter than white guy. Black men are 6 times more likely to be in prison than Caucasians. You know, it's a lot of stats that we are going to change. I didn't say we need. You guys hear what I said? We are going to change. Not we need to change. We are going to change. We are going to change these statistics. All of us on here are going to change these statistics, and everyone that we have contact with is going to be a part of the movement. This is the only time that is like the civil rights movement with Martin Luther King. This is the redo of it. This is the modern redo of it. And this is a prime time for us to get in here and make a huge change, to get an office, get a seat at the table, I was on the call with, I was doing keynote speaking on a panel for Edison, and one of the white guys asked, he said, what can we do, you know, as white citizens to help the Black community? I said, oh, I love that question. And now Edison, I'm on, not Edison, SoCal Edison, I'm on there with their nationwide employees. There's 8,000 plus employees on this call, y'all. Stick, when I say, Naomi, be yourself, listen to me when I tell you be yourself. There's 8,000 plus employees on this call. You know what I told him? And I said, well, great question. You know what you could do? Get up out your seat and give us your seat when you're at the table. And when you get up and give us your seat when you're at that table, stand behind us. So when they ask us who gave us the seat, you say, I did. You say, I let that person sit down in that seat. I support the fact that this person can sit in my seat, and I support whatever it is that they have to say, they have to do, or they have to act on. I support it. Get up out your seat and let us sit in your seat. That's what you can do for me. You can do for us. Can I have that seat, please? And don't leave the room. Don't leave the room so that you don't have to be accountable. Stand behind me and have my back. Have my back and say, no, this for her. This for her. And if you got to lose your job by doing it, then do it. If you really want to help us. We don't need your silence. We don't need you to move out the way. Stand in line with me. Get out the line and let me stand there. You get out the line while you're in the front. Let me take your place. You go to the back of the line. Use your white privilege to make your way back up. Use your white privilege to get you another seat, and then give my Black brother a seat. Use that. That's what you do. I say, use your white privilege to help us have that. That's what you do. Make the phone call for us. Have y'all saw The Banker? Has anyone seen the movie The Banker? If you haven't seen The Banker, watch that movie. Rob seen it. Watch that movie. 2 Black men, it's a true story. 2 Black men go and buy up all the white real estate neighborhood, buy up 2-3 banks, 2 Black men, and they use the white guy, and they use his white privilege to be able to facilitate the meetings. But my point is, when I told that guy that on that call with Edison and their 8,000 plus employees, not one thing not one of my boots that I did not have on shook, okay? I said, this, you asked me a question, and what I tell y'all, every question comes married to what? An answer. And I'm going to deliver. And guess what? If God gave you the address, you belong in that room. He gave me the address. I belonged on that Edison call. And when they asked me a question, I delivered. And when I got off that call, let me tell you what happened. The VP, the vice president of all of Edison, emailed me and said, Dr. Bryant, please read this email. Another white guy who didn't even ask the question said, when you answered what we could do with our white privilege, he said, it brought me to tears. He said, I am a 57-year-old Caucasian male. I'm everything that represents white privilege. You brought me to tears. Thank you for being bold enough to say that. We need more people like you. That's exactly what he said. And the president of Edison, we debriefed after the call, and I don't care. I was ready for it. Bring it. Hire me again or don't. but that's okay, because I want what's mine. I want only what God has his hands on for me. And I know how big my God is. I'm here to deliver, and I'm here to wear my coat. The president said, Dr. Bryant? I said, yes, because I was ready. He said, you are bad, boy. He said, you are one bad woman. I said, thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I say that again, you guys, if God gave you the address, it's because he built you the way you're built. Show up in your power, in whatever. Show up with your hair the way you do. I'm just saying, listen, he sent you there because there is a space that he has for you. And when you walk in the room, there's nobody in it that has to validate the address God gave to you. He's your GPS. You show up, step in that room, and you do what you know you are called to do. Be bold. God blesses the bold. God blesses what you build. He told Noah build an ark. He didn't build it for him, and Noah survived. Remember that. So be who you are supposed to be. Josh, run that school like you're supposed to run that school. I'm serious. You do this. You are president of a predominantly white school. You're killing it, man. Run. You show up the way you're supposed to show up, because couldn't nobody take it from you if they tried. That was your office. That was your vote. That was your seat. That's why you're in that position. And while you're in that position, you be in that position. The only thing you ever regret are the things you did not do. Trust me. The things that your integrity told you to do, and you went against your integrity for what? For a criticism? To live in dogma? Not on my watch, and it shouldn't be on yours. It should not be on yours. You run that school. When I get in office, I'm going to run that office like God sent me to run that office. Everybody don't have to like me, but they will respect me, because I respect myself and I respect people. So I just want all you guys to make sure you understand that. And Naomi, when you get your clients, I want you to deliver at the level that you are at, and be okay with that. And be okay with that. So, I don't know if there's any more questions, but I know that I spent long enough on most of the questions, but we can, if there's more, we can keep going.
Yeah. Does anybody have any final questions before we wrap up? Bimmy, go ahead.
I have a quick question. Okay, maybe it's not quick, but I just want to know, like, how you differentiated like your plans versus like God's will for your life, because I know like we plan like he laughs and like all that stuff, but I've been having like a hard time with that as well, with kind of like discernment of like, oh, does he want me to do this, or is the enemy telling me to do that to distract me? So, and then my second question is like, how did you stay focused within like your schooling and all of that, with like all the distractions around you? So yeah.
Perfect. I love both. Two great questions. First answer is, you said the distraction word. Distraction, it sounds like confusion, right? Let me tell you this. God is not a God of confusion. So if it feels confusing, if it feels distracting, that ain't it. The second thing is, do you meditate? Good. So everyone on here, meditation is the quickest way to get closer to you. Closer to you is the quickest way to get closer to your God. And meditation enlightens and awakens this spirit in you that feels like a little girl or a little boy, because that's really your innocence. That's who you are authentically. You're not an adult with all the responsibilities and stress. You're this really free little kid who just wants to play and be free and be loved and be yourself. And so meditation wakes that up in you, which gets you closer to spirit. The last thing to that is your affirmation from here until you hear God speak louder to you is these words: God, I can't hear you. I need you to speak louder. At 38, there's times where I say, God, I can't hear you. I need you to speak louder. I don't hear you. I don't feel you. I am confused. And I tell God, you told me you are not a God of confusion. I believe that. You have to unconfuse me. You need to start using your words and speaking to your God, because he's yours, like he's mine, and he's yours. He's very, very personal to you. Use your words and tell him, speak louder to me. Now I'm going to tell you this because it happened. He going to speak louder. So don't get freaked out by the clues and the things that you begin to see. Not like you're going to see ghosts, but you're start to see synchronicities like 555, 444, 1111, 222. You start to see these different things. You'll start to see things on TV, or when you're walking, you see things that are speaking to you very, very, very blunt and boldly that say, I'm just gonna name something. God, should I leave this guy? I'm just gonna name that. I don't know where that came from. And say you're walking down the street and all of a sudden, you see a sticker that says, girl, you should leave him. That's how clear I'm saying things will get. But God wants you to use him, to speak to him, and to ask him for that at what you want. He says, I knew you before I formed you. I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you. Do you know prosperity just doesn't come in financial form? Prosperity means prosper, joy, love, anything you can imagine. God wants to blow your mind if you will allow him to do it by opening yourself up and saying, just talk to me a little louder. I can't hear you right now. And I even said, you ain't moving fast enough for me. That's when God says, girl, slow down and be quiet and bless you enough. But I say, you're not moving fast enough for me. And I tell them I want you to understand, I tell them at this level of consciousness, at this level of my work, I work on myself every day. Ask him, I'm telling you, your affirmation and your homework. And I want to know, will you commit to asking God to speak louder for you? And to speak in the language and the way at which you can hear him clear with no confusion. Can you commit to that? I know you're on the spot, but
yeah.
Okay, good. High five.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Oh, wait, you had another, what was the second one?
I think you answered it.
How do I stay focused? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just want to say, stay focused, but I would take I still travel. Like I would go to Miami with my girlfriends and I would take my study guide and they would be getting dressed to go leave to the club, being honest, pop bottles. And I would say, girl, give me an hour. In an hour, I'll meet y'all in an hour. And I would ace my test, and I'm not being mean. And they're still my best friends. I call them sisters. Their kids are my niece and nephews. I went on to get my doctorate degree. My closest, bestest friend, who I was doing my study guide, and she was hitting the streets. She has 2 kids by 2 different men. She ended up going to jail and did some time. And she got out. She's doing good now. But she had a conversation with me when she got out of jail, when she said, Cheyenne, we had parallel journeys. She said the only difference in our journeys was the choices we made. We both had teenage pregnancy. We both were a product of a street guy. We both grew up in the hood. We used to catch the bus together, we used to sleep in the same bed and argue over, scoot over, you scoot over, don't touch me, you don't touch me. And the only difference was our choices. Listen, your choice, not choices, choice one will change the entire trajectory of your life. That alone should bring in that focus. That every day you live in the results of your choices. Every day. So if you know that, what result do you want? So what choice are you going to make? And you want to create a life that you are proud of. You want to do and say things that you are proud of. Before you do something, say, well, I'd be proud about what about this. I said that with Edison. I said, well, I'd be proud when I say this. I said, heck yeah. And I go on. But I'd be proud if I held back. Heck no. Green light. So keep your focus, but keep the balance. My balance was I'm still going to go on the trip because I want to be with my girls, but I would bring my study guide. I would work out and put the study guide in the treadmill because I was like kind of vain, I guess. I wanted to keep my body all this way. I'm still like that. But I'd be on the treadmill running 3, 4, 5 miles with the study guide, and people would literally go like, are you studying? Mm-hmm. Go the next day. I got my 4 miles in, body looking good, and aced the test. I want it all. God said he got plans to prosper me. I want it all. I'm not leaving nothing on the table. And I don't want you to leave nothing on the table either. Don't leave anything on the table. Anything, unless it's something that you're leaving because somebody else needs it. Other than that, just take it. Don't leave nothing on the table. Get all the experiences in life because experience teaches. I want you to ace every test. I want you to go on every vacation. I want you to go just go out to lunch with your girlfriend. I mean, just do it safe, but do not negate yourself from life experiences. Don't do it.
Thank you.
Of course, you got it.
All right, well, that's our time with Dr. Bryant. I want everybody to give her a hand clap. Thank you. We appreciate you. We do.
Dr. B!
Thank
There's
you.
so much we could get into. And of course, this won't be the last time we connect with you. Anything you need our support at, anything you'd like us to get involved with. And of course, again, if you'd like to work with Dr. Bryant, I'd be willing to give out her information if she'd let us, and we can coordinate that. But of course, we'll stay connected with you.
Perfect. You got it. Everyone have a good night. I'm going to go watch the NBA finals for a little bit. Well, if they're still on, I think they're off. But anyways, good night. Love you all. Be good.
Real quick. Can we get a group picture on Zoom real quick? I'm going to just take a screenshot. So I'll get ready. All right.
Wait, let me fix. Hold on. Okay.
Let's go to archives. All right. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3.
I didn't even know you could do that. You all send that to me.
Yeah, I got you.
Didn't I say earlier about Taylor teaching me stuff I didn't know? Now look at you where I said it. I did not know. And I'm on Zoom all day with my calls.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Just
all right.
Yeah, I'm going to send them your way. You have a good night, all right?
Good night, everyone.
Bye, Dr. B.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Ciao.
Good night, Rob. Ciao.